Luis Guillermo Solís.
Luis Guillermo Solís Rivera is the President-elect of Costa Rica. He is a member of the Citizens Action Party. Solís led the field in the 2014 presidential election, and was effectively handed the presidency after the runner-up in the first round, San Jose Mayor Johnny Araya Monge, ceased active campaigning. Solís has a long academic and political career, culminating in his election as the first president of Costa Rica to be a member of the PAC. In addition to public service and academics, Solís enjoys farming.
Early life, education, and academic career.
Solís was born in San Jose, Costa Rica to Vivienne Rivera Allen, an educator, and Freddy Solís Avendano, an uneducated shoemaker. Both his parents lived in Turrialba, and as such many residents consider him Turrialban. His family has Afro-Caribbean and Chinese roots, coming from Jamaica to Costa Rica in the early 1900s. Solís grew up in San Pedro de Montes de Oca and Curridabat, neighborhoods of San Jose. He attended Methodist High School in San Jose, where he was president of the student body, before studying history at the University of Costa Rica, where he earned a degree with academic honors in 1979. He earned a master's degree in Latin American Studies at Tulane University in New Orleans. Solís has held various academic and consulting positions. Between 1981 and 1987, he was an associate professor at the University of Costa Rica. In addition, he was a Fulbright Scholar at the University of Michigan from 1983 to 1985. During this time, Solís worked with the Arias administration and eventually became director of the Center for Peace and Reconciliation, CPR for its Spanish initials. From 1992 to 1995, Solís worked with the Academic Council of the United Nations system. Starting in 1999, Solís worked for Florida International University as coordinator in the Center for the Administration of Justice and as a researcher for the Latin American and Caribbean Center, where he analyzed political and social events in Latin America. A writer and editorial writer, Solís has published numerous essays and books about national and international affairs. In the 1990s, he wrote for La República, a daily newspaper based in San Jose. His writing has been published by Foreign Affairs Latino America, Frontera Norte, Espacios and Global Governance. His writing has focused on civil society, international relations, and trade.
Political beginnings.
While still at UCR, Solís joined the National Liberation Party, PLN for its Spanish initials, in 1977. Solís was an advisor to Oscar Arias in the Foreign Ministry, working on the Esquipulas peace agreement for which Arias would later win a Nobel Peace Prize. Solís served as Director of International Relations for the PLN. During José María Figueres Olson's time in office, Solís was Ambassador of Central American Affairs. In 2002, Solís followed Rolando González Ulloa as General Secretary of the PLN, a position he resigned from the following year, citing as disappointed with the Alcatel-Lucent bribery scandal that many PLN leaders were involved in. In 2005, he denounced the PLN for irregularities and corruption during party elections, along with a host of former PLN members. Solís went as far as to call the PLN leadership Napoleonic and anti-democratic. He officially renounced his affiliation with the party and returned to academics. After the 2006 election, Solís' name began to come up in PAC circles, particularly at meetings of the UN Group, an informal gathering of PAC officials, led by former deputy and former vice president of the National University of Costa Rica Alberto Salom Echeverría. Otton Solís, one of PAC's founders and three-time presidential candidate, suggested that Luis Guillermo Solís run as a vice presidential candidate in 2010. Luis Guillermo Solís rejected the offer because he was working for the General Secretariat of Iberoamerica, SEGIB for its Spanish initials, and employees of SEGIB were not allowed to participate in elections. In 2009, Luis Guillermo Solís began his official affiliation with PAC. He began attending meetings of the UN Group in 2010. Within the party, PAC leader Maria Eugenia Venegas recognized Solís' potential and pushed for him to be elevated within the party. Solís undertook several trips around the country to meet with national and provincial PAC leaders.
2014 presidential campaign.
Solís announced his candidacy for president on November 27, 2012. In the PAC's primary, he ran against FC Campbell Barr, Juan Carlos Mendoza Garcia, and Ronald Solís Bolaños, winning with 35% of the vote, only 110 votes more than Juan Carlos Mendoza Garcia. In October 2013, he chose Helio Fallas and Ana Helena Chacon Echeverria as his vice-presidential running mates. Among his aims, Solís claimed he would clean up corruption, create major investments in infrastructure, and shore up Costa Rica's universal healthcare and social security system. He also promised to continue initiatives to keep Costa Rica environmentally friendly. He said that he would put the brakes on new free trade agreements and would begin correctly administrating current free trade agreements. As such, Solís received a tremendous amount of political support from the country's trade unions, Costa Rica's trade unions. On February 2, 2014, Solís won the most votes in the election with 30.95%. PLN candidate Johnny Araya came second with 29.95% of the vote. Most of Solís' support came from the Central Valley provinces of San Jose, Alajuela, Hidaya and Cartago. Because no candidate exceeded 40% of the vote, a second round of voting occurred on April 6 as required by the Constitution. Before that, on March 5, Araya announced that he would abandon his campaign after polls showed him far behind Solís. However, under Costa Rican law the runoff still had to take place, and Solís won with over 77% of the vote, the largest margin ever recorded for a free election in Costa Rica. Unlike the first round, Solís earned a majority in every province, including Punta Arenas, Limon, and Guanacaste. When he takes office on May 8, he will be the first president in 66 years not to come from the PLN or what is now the PUSC. Immediately after the election, Solís thanked Costa Rican voters. He received congratulatory notes from world leaders, including U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, Bolivian President Evo Morales, and the spokesperson from the French Ministry of International Affairs. For his part, Araya congratulated Solís on his victory, calling for national unity.
Presidency.
With a little over a week before taking office, in April 2014, Solís announced the creation of his cabinet. His cabinet will consist of mostly PAC members or non-aligned citizens. However, 2 PUSC members will also be added. Maria del Rocio Soares, Abel Pacheco's former health minister, will head the Costa Rican social security system, Cajar Costarricense del Seguro Social. Delia Villalobos, another former health minister, will head the Social Protection Council, Consejo de Seguridad.
Political, economic, and social philosophy.
Like most members of PAC, Solís identifies himself as a progressivist. His Plan Rescate, or Rescue Plan, outlines his political beliefs. This plan focused on 3 central issues: anti-corruption, economic growth, and reducing income inequality. Solís claims that economic neoliberalism has created too much income inequality for Costa Rica. Past governments have avoided collecting taxes on large companies and high-income earners, leading to budget deficits which Solís claims his administration will fix through better enforcement. Banks should not encourage exports at the expense of income growth among the poor, according to Solís. He believes that economic liberalization has generally harmed women more than men because they have traditionally had less access to higher income jobs. Part of that liberalization, he claims, included ignoring the financial and growth needs of the agricultural industry. Solís supports environmental protections, which he believes Costa Rica has forgotten. As such, Solís believes that water must be safeguarded from private development and mismanagement, something that has caused water shortages in many of the country's municipalities. Solís claims that he will prosecute violators of the Water Resources Management Bill. Solís is a Catholic. As a presidential candidate, he visited the Basilica of Our Lady of Angels, home to the Costa Rican patron Saint La Negrita, a traditional pilgrimage for many Costa Ricans and tourists. He supports the separation of church and state despite Catholicism being the country's official religion. With regard to ethical issues, he also supports civil unions, and in vitro fertilization.